Yay.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So thanks. It may be that Melanie was expecting me to start the meeting. We hadn't talked about it, and so I I didn't have that information handy to get it
Yeah,
started.
no problem. Always happy to do it. I've started plenty of Zoom meetings for the town, so I'm happy to
Great.
happy to help.
So I think at this point, good morning, Richard.
How's everybody?
Good. How are you doing, Richard?
Doing
I'm
well.
still walking. I'm still breathing. It's been a
Walking is
long.
good. Yeah. Breathing is okay. Is it, second to walking. So I just want to say to Richard, I say DC. I know
Who is DC? Do we know?
Kirk is missing.
know, um,
Who is DC?
it could be Kirk. Well, I don't know. Could be a public member of the public.
Well, Michael's missing. I know Jeff said he was going to be late.
Right. Michael's missing. Kirk is zooming in from somewhere not local, but I think it's the same as he's always done. So
Yeah.
I don't know who DC is.
Well, we're an open meeting, however, correct? So we don't, even if we don't know who DC is, they can
Right.
stay, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. I did want to say to Richard, before we convene the meeting, and it'd be nice if hopefully Kirk will be here soon. If you haven't seen it, I went to the Historical Society of the Woodstock Historical Society to see the exhibition, and I highly, highly recommend. Richard, I think it's wonderful. Kudos to Deborah, the other Deborah, and just everybody who contributed. It's just wonderful.
Aren't the labels great?
They're fabulous.
I
It
do
really,
those and scan the photos. That's my
wow.
job.
Well,
Deborah gets the credit, but thank you. I'll pass that on.
options are great. The photographs are great. We spent a good solid hour there, and a couple of other people came in while we were there, and I just highly, highly recommend. So
Thank you.
So, Kirk says he's in the waiting room, Laura.
Well, nobody's in the waiting room now. I have Kirk. That's Kirk's phone number. You can see him on the bottom of our screen.
Yeah.
Ask him if he can unmute because he's in. I've already admitted him he's in, but he's muted.
Okay. Okay. Let's see if this works.
And I double checked that's his phone number.
Yeah, it is. I just looked that up too. Okay, great. All right.
So he's definitely in. Can he hear us?
I don't know.
I know we can't hear him. I did do an ask to unmute.
Well, I love the technology and
Okay,
and
I finally figured out how to unmute.
oh yay.
Yeah,
Thank-
Kirk, we can hear you. Can you
Hi.
hear us?
Okay, yeah, I can definitely hear. I've heard you all the while, and I apologize for the disruption to the meeting.
Oh, no.
For some
haven't
reason,
got-
the Wi-Fi,
Right.
the Wi-Fi here all of a sudden wasn't working, so I had to go to my phone.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
use the
always
phone.
get this notice saying your internet is unstable, and then everybody freezes, and so I have a lot of trouble with Wi-Fi myself.
I get the notice.
Yeah.
I get the notice I'm unstable. So
Yeah, right. I was thinking the same thing, Richard, about myself.
So when everybody's
Yeah.
when we're all done, sort of like I don't know, unburdening or whatever, we can we'll officially start the meeting. It's 10:07. Do we want to do that? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
should start.
okay, and apologize for the slight delay, but thanks for everybody for working together to get us here. Kirk, I just wanted to kind of start very quickly, which is kind of an overview, and then I thought you and I could kind of bring everybody up to date on where we are
Sure.
in
Sounds
the
good.
final stages of getting all the comments reviewed and input to the town board. other further recommendations. So, you know, we started this process now a little over 2 years ago at like a 30,000 foot level. And we were kind of just getting getting sort of a sense of where we are in terms of what the needs were, the comprehensive plans, objectives vis-a-vis housing and zoning, and where the task force could fit into that. Then we kind of evaluated what our current code was, what best practices are that could help us to achieve the goals and objectives from the comprehensive plan on creating more housing options in the town and updating our zoning to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. And so we went from 30,000 feet, I think, in drafting, sending a draft to the town board after meeting with committees, and we sent that draft in 2022, version 1, sort of at the 10,000 foot level, and we put all the documents on the website, gave the community basically opened it up for comments to the community. And then this April, we gave a revised draft law based on everything that we learned from the comments and from our further evaluation to make it really reflect our goals. And we got to the, I think we're kind of at the 200 foot level, and that we're looking to land. I mean, maybe that's kind of ambitious, but I thought that was a good analogy, because given how much effort every one of you has put into this, I just, again, want to acknowledge that and say that we've, since April, we've received, comments from the county, comments from the planning board, the WEC, the ZBA, and many other, now I think a housing committee, how could I forget? Because I'm on it and it's a kind of lengthy document, even though I didn't help prepare it. And that I think we've done a really good job of looking at everything and considering everything line by line in terms of what people's comments have been and the feedback we've gotten and the suggestions we've gotten. And so that has kind of taken us to this point where we've now provided Nan with all of that information since our April submittal, and she and our discussions and further guidance on recommendations that she is going to incorporate into the next draft, and that our job is going to be, among other things, to review that very carefully and make sure both in terms of any corrections or edits or proofing that was brought to our attention or that we did, that everything's been done, all the other revised recommendations have been made, and that everything in there is clear and ready to go. So Kirk, I just wanted to mention that before we get into scheduling, to kind of give everybody that sort of backdrop. And I'm happy to have you jump in if I forgot anything.
No, I don't think there's anything that's out over that you failed to mention. I think it's pretty clear we're coming close to the end of our journey here, and really what remains is what Nan will give back to us after being supplied everything that the subgroup that reviewed every single comment, and then the task force reviewed those comments as well. And determine what revisions needed to be made. All that information is over to Nan, as Deborah just stated. We will be getting things back from Nan rather promptly, and we are scheduling a meeting. I believe, Deborah, it's the 14th.
It's Thursday the 14th. So we don't know precisely when she's going to have her materials for us to review. She did send me a note last night to say that she's looking at everything. This is what she's focusing on this week. She will undoubtedly have questions for us. We will look at those and then try and help move that process along. But so I don't have a date certain when we're going to hear back from her. But when we do, and we distribute that material to you, we would like you to review it very, very carefully. And we set the date of September 14th as the next time that we would meet as a task force. It's conceivable there might be another date, but at the moment, that's what we envision will be, or we provide anything to the town board
So
in
we're planning
final
to
form.
meet it. So I'm just gonna get my calendar out and check it. So we're hoping to meet this group at 10 a.m. on the 14th.
Correct. It's a
Ye-
Thursday,
yes.
but we wanted to have the extra few days for the task force to review that, and also for the task force to work on the accompanying documents, which we really, really, really need your input. One is we're going to have a summary of all the changes, and there aren't a ton of them, but there are some that are, substantive that are, having to do with, for instance, the definitions on the affordable housing to make sure they're consistent with both federal definitions and also how we're going to be applying them in town. So those are some things that came from the Housing Committee, as well as some of the comments from the Planning Board, which I think were exceedingly helpful. And Judith, thank you for all your work in both in terms of the official communication that we got from Melissa, and then some of the other input we got from Peter to help us to look closely at the conservation subdivision section and how to improve that. So I think that those are really important things that we want to make sure when we provide that summary of changes to the town board, that it's simple and clear. And that along with that, we just want to have a fact sheet. Yeah, Judith.
I don't know if this is something that's within our remit or not. I think it ought to be.
Okay.
Nan and or John it would be very valuable for the planning board to have some guidance at the time that this all goes into effect as to appropriate ways of managing conserved land.
Okay.
We're all sort of, guessing here. What works, what's legally feasible, especially given the fact that the Woodstock Land Conservancy, which is the best place for conservation easements,
Right.
may not have the resources to do this all the time. So, we need some models for the right way to handle that.
Okay. This is, I'm making a note of this, and obviously this is recorded. I think this is a very important thing. One of the things that Nan has said, and Bill has underscored, and I see, Richard, your hand's up, just give me a second, is that there will need to be very specific training, multiple sessions for the planning board, for the ZBA, for the town board, actually, anyone who has to, and the building department, so that they're clear on how to these changes will actually take effect. To your specific point, I think a session on that. So we may want to identify a couple of key topics that are important in addition to just the overall, how does this apply once it's adopted, that are going to be more significant in terms of your reviews that we should basically highlight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks.
But that's something, that John's input. I know we're planning to do a meeting, a training session with him at the planning.
Right. Okay.
But we need to have a list handy of what we can require and how it is structured and, how it actually works.
Good. Thank you. Richard, if your hand is still up.
On the email you sent, I got with the Zoom link.
Yes.
You had some other links there, so I was trying to catch up.
Oh,
See
yeah.
what- And the one that responses to comments on draft law,
Yeah.
when I click, I get document doesn't exist.
Oh,
So
boy.
that's that. A little.
Oh, thank you. Oh, boy. That's okay. So we'll check on that.
Just try it again here. Yeah, same thing. Okay.
Anyone else had a problem? Maybe no one else has gotten to try it. I'll double check. That was obviously what the Google provided. Obviously that's important to note. So thank you for letting.
The other link opened, but in Google.
Okay. Okay. So in that, obviously that's a very lengthy document. We've talked about it before. That has all the comments we've received and sort of and organized by topics. And then look to see what is, in some cases it's correcting proofing, in some cases it's clarifying, in some cases it's taking a recommendation or a suggestion and looking at it and seeing, is there a way to improve our recommendation? So that document is, it will be helpful for you. There's a summary of that at the beginning. It'd be helpful for you to take a look at that and make any comments that you have. And so I'll make sure that it works. Okay. I mean, if Kirk is going to pick up the conversation, I'm just going to check right now. I could do that. You want to?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think what this meeting was really intending to do is give people a sense of where we are right now, and we're in the final stage. So there really isn't a lot more to discuss today. I think that the work that's been done is now in the hands of Nan, and that she'll be responding back to us in due time. And the review time that we have with the document, it will be ample, and we'll just give people the notice. And now what Deborah is saying is that we have the two documents. What we did the previous times for the public is we're going to give a simple document that lists all the revisions since the time we submitted it in April 19th. And that's going to be one document. Then we're going to use the entire document that lists all the comments that Jeff and Judith and Deborah have been working with, and we're going to give that document as a body of work, for the record. We'll give that one over to the town as well, and that can be, people can reference that if they wish. But what's going to accompany what we give to the town board will be simply the code and the revisions, and then a list of those revisions in a separate document, and that's going to be the sum of our deliverable when we give it to the town board. Does anybody have any comment?
I just want to say I sent to Richard. I shared with him directly from Google the document, which may have been better than sending you the link. And maybe you can open that, in which case I'll do that with everybody.
Yeah.
Yep. Table of contents starts with, yep.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's a better way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think that Deborah, there really isn't much more to talk about today. We've covered everything, unless you feel otherwise.
Yeah, the only other thing I will say is that I am going to, I did reach out to Jeff, who has a conflict this morning until 10:30, so he's not like join us. But that we could, I think we just had a big long holiday weekend. I know he's challenged except on weekends with his new work schedule, but he and Judith and I, either separately or together, are going to follow up on the work that we've been doing and especially once I hear from Nan, who's invariably going to have questions, we may actually want to spend some time with her, Judith.
Yeah. So I do want to mention, I did finally, sorry for looking away, but I had to get to my my calendar online, my work calendar, and I had to change my password. And anyway, but I do have a doctor's appointment on the 14th at 8:45. 10 o'clock is unlikely for me. if we could start at 10, but I know Richard usually has to go, but that's on Tuesdays. If we were at 10:30 or 11, I'd be more likely to make it on time. I doubt I can make it on time at 10.
Fine on
That's a
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday's not a problem for me.
The
Okay.
13th, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you
Sorry,
know-
Well-
what day again, please?
Thursday,
The-
September 13th?
September
The
14th.
14th.
So if we
Alright.
could
Yeah,
start
14th.
if we could start at 10:30 or 11, because, you know, the doctor, you know, it doesn't go on my schedule, as you know. So I don't
I
know.
can do
Right.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do that.
So do anyone have a preference which time? We go for 11. I'll check with Jeff, but, or Kirk, you can, we'll see, you know.
You just tell me.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I think 10:30, the sooner the better in the day. So, you know, Laura, you know, the doctor will be with you, what, 7 to 10 minutes? Unless there's something, you know, unless there's tested
I
or
think it's a
not,
physical.
but,
I think it's my annual physical, so.
oh,
it's,
okay. So a little bit
you know,
longer. Yeah.
Likely.
And
Well,
you
the
said
nurse
it's
will be
at
longer. Yeah.
quarter to 9, and is the appointment on,
It's in Woodstock. It's right by the tennis courts on
Okay.
Xena, where Xena Road and Salka come together.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's 2 minutes from home.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue. It's 2 minutes from home, but it's 8:45. So 10:30,
Quarter to
again, I'll
9.
do my best. I get on the call right
I think
away.
10:30 is 10:30 is
Okay.
gonna be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
everybody plan on that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
We'll
We'll look for that information from us. Look for that information from us and other communications between now and then pertaining to this final step that we'll be making.
Which will be to verify the changes that are made in the final document, and so that, and what we're going to submit to the town board. That's
But
great.
do you have any idea when we might get the changes from Nan?
Well, that's what I said. She wasn't clear on when. She says she's basically blocked out this week to work on it.
Okay.
And so I expect, she said she'd be in touch tomorrow. And maybe I'll have an idea then, but I don't think she's had enough time to really look at everything to see how much it's involved. I don't think a lot. I mean, I was able to do a lot of the changes from the housing committee definitions, which I also got some really terrific language from Kai Lord Farmer, which I went over with Nan as well, which seemed to be very consistent. And then it's our eligibility language was actually very good. So a lot of language in our document that's already very good and in place. So it was really good to come from that. And then those other areas, I was just basically able to do a sort of a draft to see if that works for Nan, then that should help, you know, move things along. But there were some issues that we all discussed to try and sort out some of the ADU issues, and the STR, of course, is going to be handled through a different mechanism, but there were some things specifically related to our proposals we wanted to make sure we captured. So just want to make sure all of that's in place. My hope is that we'll get it this week, by the end of this week, but that's a total guess on my part.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sounds good. So we're good for 10:30 on Thursday, the 14th.
Right.
Okay.
So I
Very
think
good.
pretty much covers it for today.
We're gonna land, as Deborah says.
Land.
Coming in for a landing.
And
Yeah.
thank you, everybody, really, truly.
Marathon. Well, it's been a marathon.
It has. So look
It has been a marathon.
for the emails this week. Look for if there are any questions that Nan has that need a wider discussion. We'll let you know. But just, you know, just be alert to that. Otherwise, we'll give you any other direction that we need to in the coming days.
Sounds perfect.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks all.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.